What else is hard about gaining a healthy relationship with food? None of us like to waste time, and I've seen women who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s who have taken it upon themselves to gain a healthy relationship with food. And this idea of, I've wasted all of this time trying to diet, trying to lose weight, trying to achieve my perfect body or my goal body, and now I'm letting that go, and there's almost a sense of, I failed at that and now I've got to do this instead. None of us like to waste time, and so I have seen a lot of women hold on to the goal of chasing their dream body or dieting or weight loss simply to avoid dealing with the idea that they have wasted that time. It's not entirely dissimilar to leaving a long-term relationship, right? I've stayed in a lot of relationships because I didn't want to say that I'd wasted that time. If this is one of the things for you, and you have also left a long-term relationship and then moved on and kind of learnt from it and turned it into a positive experience for yourself. If you have that experience to draw on, I think that's wonderful, and I think that could probably hugely help. If you don't and you'd like me to make a video on that topic specifically, then I'm very happy to do that. You just let me know. And I know it's probably an infuriating thing to say, but just because we've spent time on something doesn't mean that we should continue to spend time on it. But I can make a video on that if you want. I'm taking this from a conversation that I had recently with a woman who's on her journey of gaining a healthy relationship with food. And one thing that she was saying was particularly difficult about doing that is how for a very long time it seemed like her problem was with food and her body, and that she wasn't thin enough, and it was kind of all quite tangible and all wrapped up and quite simplified in a way, because that's the problem. I have a problem with food. And when that was sort of removed and replaced with, well, actually, this has got very little to do with your body, it's got very little to do with food, and it's about these things over here that you haven't really explored or looked at ever. She said that that was quite scary and overwhelming. Ultimately, of course, it became a very, very empowering thing for her to do, and it was really important that she started to look at these things for her happiness and her ability to thrive in her life. Nevertheless, that transition of going from something quite tangible being the problem to something quite intangible being the problem, and her problem being bigger and deeper, shall we say, than she originally anticipated, that can be hard. In my process that I use, about 5% of the time at the start is a discussion on food, and the rest we don't really talk about food at all, and that's because it's not about food. And when women are moving through it, they really don't expect to be exploring a lot of the topics that they end up exploring, like assertiveness or communication. Like, what has that got to do with my relationship with food? Just give me a good relationship with food, please. Before all of the benefits, shall we say, start rolling in of exploring these topics and working on them and addressing them, before the benefits start coming in, just seeing, oh, these are the things that I'm going to be working on and addressing, can feel scary, overwhelming. But although addressing all of this underlying stuff, shall we say, can be one of the hardest parts and scariest parts when you're sort of at the beginning, it's also the most empowering and life-changing parts of the journey as well. If you want to learn more about what I've discussed today, then you can check out the links in the description. There's lots of stuff down there that can help.